Here's the facts, support and inspiration to go green wherever you are. Sundays 9 to 10 a.m. only on Radio Al-Ansar.
Hey, it's Green Thumbs Up Day. It is Sunday, and here we are for one more beautiful day. This is your gardening and natural living show. So this is the show where everybody is an expert, but nobody has all the answers. Yet together we keep on growing. Now, if you're joining us on FM radio, you'll be joining us in Durban on 90.4 and in Pietermaritzburg in 105.6. Joining us on all the Radio Al-Ansar socials is Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram, right? And of course, you can join me on my personal TikToks, which is Lifecoach.Raia. So today we are going to be doing a week forecast, or not a week forecast, a month forecast. So once a month, we have Dr. Carrie Goodwin that joins us, and she talks to us a little bit about what is coming up in terms of gardening for the week ahead. But before we do that, we always talk a little bit about the weather. We do the weather. And then today, as I was on my way here, I was thinking something, and I was thinking that we just do not show people how much we appreciate them enough. We do not tell them. And I really think we should be telling people a lot more often how much we appreciate them. So I want to lead by example, and I want to say, I appreciate you, my dear listener, my darlings that join us every Sunday. I appreciate all of you. I appreciate Brother Sibunisu, who really works hard here, and he's with here in studio. Sibunisu Mkize, our right hand on this show. And I appreciate his selection of the nasheeds, and I appreciate his always helping me with the buttons, because buttons, there are so many buttons in this place. And, you know, the older presenters that have been here for a very long time know all these buttons, and they're so good at all of this. And I'm good at talking. I talk. That's my claim to fame. I love talking to you, and I love learning with you and talking to you. And so this morning, I want to encourage you to send a message or drop a voice note or make a phone call to somebody that means something to you. Because you never know when tomorrow or today may be the very last time that you get that opportunity. So drop them a message and tell them, I appreciate you. I appreciate you in my life, and I appreciate you because, and go ahead and tell them why you appreciate them. Tell your sons, tell your daughters, tell your wives, tell your hubby dubs, tell your grannies and grandpas, your nannies, your daddies, your nanas, your dadas, hey, your chotimas, everybody, how wonderful they are in your life, because today is truly a beautiful day to be happy. And it is a beautiful day outside. If you're in Durban, you will have noticed that it is extremely beautiful weather, but it has been hot this week. My hat's in a basket of broken eggs. I stepped out of the house on Thursday morning to do what I always do, which is grounding. Step outside, put my feet on the earth, and just inhale, exhale. Inhale the good stuff, exhale the bad stuff. And man alive, did I nearly cook. It's been really hot, and I think our plants are feeling it. And so, although we normally have our gardening forecast at the start of the month, because of this incredible heat, I reached out to Dr. Carrie, who is our regular forecaster, and said, would she join us this morning? So I've got a challenge for each of you while we talk to Dr. Carrie. We here at Green Thumbs Up have a very special community, a community of nature lovers, not just gardeners. Some of you are gardeners. Some of my darlings are government gardeners, and they are massive, beautiful, wonderful gardeners. And some are just starting up gardeners. And some of you are not gardeners at all. And you would probably kill a cactus, and that's okay. And yet we're a community We talk about natural living. We've spoken about monkeys on this show. We've spoken about roses. We've spoken about snakes and spiders and creepy crawlies. We've spoken about bugs and stink bugs. We've even had scientists on this show talking about using sand grains of sand, to actually measure how old something is instead of carbon dating. And so we're a family of some sort. So what do we call ourselves? That's my challenge. What do we call ourselves? Because we're not just green thumbs uppers, because some of us don't have green thumbs. Some of us don't. We have a message that comes in from a Siberian who says, I would love to own a tarantula. Well, I encourage you, because I love tarantulas and I owned several, particularly the pink-kneed tarantulas, one of whom was called Chiquitita. That was her name, Chiquitita. And I would put her on my hand and I would sing, Chiquitita, tell me what's wrong. And she would dance for me. Tarantulas have a personality. So what do we call ourselves as a family? And what do we call ourselves? That's my challenge. Send it to 060 904 1056. I was going to say 65. See? Run that by me again, Vanessa. Go on. What's that number again? 060 904 1056. In fact, it's actually easy to remember, because if you think 90.4 and 105.6 and you put all of that together, because those are our 2 FM channels, then you get our number with an 060 in the front, right? So Brother Usman is quick on the trigger and he says, Assalamu alaikum, Sister Rabia. Wa alaikum salam, brother. Always lekker listening to you. You see, I love the corny jokes start coming from our listeners. That's why I want a name for this family. Why did the sweet potato go out with the pumpkin? Because she couldn't find a date. And then we have got Sister Sarah Bibi Mustafa, who messages us and says, oh, this beautiful, beautiful message is pretty long, so a little bitty long. She says, Assalamu alaikum to Raia Calvalho, my salams and duas to you and your family and entire Radio Al Ansar family. Always remembered in my duas. Hey, welcome to Green Thumbs Up. It is a beautiful day for gardening. All salams and duas to Sibuniso. For the beautiful nasheeds in your show and nuts. Hey, you very good to say daddies, dads, nannies, nanas. You're learning Urdu. Well done, my dear Raia Calvalho. Well done and take care to you. Jazakallah. Ameen. So that is from Sister Sarah Bibi Mustafa, Sister Fatima Effendi. Assalamu alaikum. She says, we are a green family. Hey, greenies. Oh no, greenies sounds odd. To all my green family out there. Any other takers? I like that, green family. But what do we call ourselves then, Sister Fatima? Do you want to phone in and tell us, what do we call ourselves? Now, I've got on the line, don't we? We have Dr. Carrie already on the line. And I'm going to ask the same question. Firstly, I'm going to take and thank you for joining me on the show.
Oh, thank you very much for having me. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Excellent. So when you're asking that question, I have to admit, I feel like one of your listeners, and I'm just racking my brain of trying to think, how could we call ourselves a family with maybe some of us having green thumbs, but then also including the environment and all the nature that you talk about and the joy that it brings us. And even like you said, the groundedness, the peace that comes with it. So I haven't quite got a name yet, but I'm racking my brain trying to think of how it could be so inclusive to include all of us and almost be as one. We as one with the environment, we work with it, we appreciate it, and we use it for the health of ourselves and the health of it to be able to grow. So I don't know, it's going to be a hard one. Hopefully your listeners are far more inventive than myself.
I hope our listeners come forward with names, because then I'll have to just chat GPT if they don't, and I'll bring our listeners a whole bunch of them for them to choose. There we go. But you raise an interesting point. It's not just the gardening. It is obviously the natural living stuff as well. So I wanted to get you right on as we talk about the weather, because I know that you're up in Johannesburg and we've had really hot weather here.
Actually, I think it's been countrywide because we had on Thursday, our temperatures went up to at least 34 already. And yet on Monday, I still had my electric blanket on because it was so freezing cold and raining. So it does seem very higgledy-piggledy. And then my brother was in Cape Town and he said they had the most gorgeous weather, but it was really extremely hot for October. So I think the trick is what we're going to have to do is actually garden more. Instead of
Yes,
putting in more air conditioners, trying to put electrical appliances to moderate our temperatures for us, we have to start using our environment. Plant more trees around your home or your buildings. Plant them in the right place so they provide coolness in the summer heat. And then they also just drop the temperature. I mean, in Joburg, we have a problem where a lot of our street trees are dying because they got hit by that shuttle borer. But I don't know if we're replacing them as fast. And so our tar is becoming hot. The concrete that surrounds us is becoming hot. And I think, oh my goodness, when I see like more paving and more just hardness coming out, I think, please, no, just plant plants, plant any plants. It doesn't matter what you're
absolutely.
planting, just plant something because the soil and the plants absorb the heat.
And
So,
if Carrie, I've got a message that came in from Sister Vitamin. She says, "Thank goodness for the wind
mm,
to cool us down." And another message had popped in from Pappy. Pappy calls himself, says, "Sensational. Nature must be defended, and more than defended, it should be nurtured and encouraged to grow
yeah,
around us." And
yes,
sometimes people don't because they don't have the space, but you can have creepers and climbers and you can certainly, I'm thinking, instead of using, if you don't want to have a big tree, you
mm.
could make yourself, what do you call those jigger joggers now? Suddenly I'm thinking 4 poles and a roof.
Like a
Um,
gazebo type of thing.
yes, like a gazebo type of thing. And you can grow some beautiful creepers over there. And while you're growing the creeper, why not make it a cucumber? Or a cucumber and a pumpkin, or a cucumber and a calabash, because they make beautiful creepers and they make beautiful um, gazebos. And then,
Absolutely.
right, and the fruit will hang off from the roof and from the sides, and it makes harvesting much easier. And the bugs ain't gonna get to it, and you've got a cool spot. So it's a win-win plus a win and a win and a win.
So what I love is how we look at gardening in such different ways because you think of it, and not all the time, but in a sustainable way, produce and harvesting. And when you spoke about the heat and stuff, I was thinking of fragrance. So I'm thinking of planting climbers that are going to bring fragrance to my garden because I'm not so good at eating all the lovely vegetables that I harvest. My earthworms are fantastic and very healthy earthworms. But I love the fact that when I go into my garden in the evenings, I can sit there and I just smell something amazing. Like I even had a friend this morning. I've just found a plant called an osmanthus, and it's like a little shrub and it has tiny flowers but beautiful fragrance. And she said to me, "Oh, it's not nearly as nice as the Mireia exotica, which also has an incredible fragrance." So I thought,
Mireia
maybe,
exotica. Mm.
yes, it's the coffee jasmine.
Now it's interesting you talking about that because I was going to say to you, my coffee tree flowers smell absolutely amazing, and here you are with a coffee jasmine.
Yeah. So I think that's what also makes gardening so wonderful for all of us and all of your listeners is what we get out of our gardens. But I think if I just go back to that heat part before we talk a little bit more about climates, is just to remember to mulch. Whether you're mulching with living plants, I want to say sadly, I've got some of that wild strawberry that seems to be covering all the soil in my garden. And I know it's an invasive weed, but I'm thinking, thank goodness it's acting as a mulch. And then I've put down some bark chips around the plants that aren't covered with a living mulch. And some people are even using stones as mulch, but mulch will really help your garden be not as stressed with the lack of water or this heat that we are having at the moment.
100%. Mulching is so
yeah.
important, folks. It doesn't matter if it's a pot plant or, all those leaves that you raked up in the winter time. Please go ahead and put them in your pots. It doesn't really matter that it doesn't look clean in the sense that it is completely absent and devoid of plant matter on the soil. But if you don't want the leaves, you can use nuts, the nut shells. You can use orchid bark or just normal bark. You can use stones, although stones absorb a little bit more heat. You can even take some of those hydrating granules and actually add it to things. But even then, you're still going to need a mulch. So one of our listeners says, I love frangipani fragrance and lavender too.
Yes.
Fragrance of those. I mean, come on. Who doesn't love to walk into a garden and have that beautiful fragrance? Yeah, we've got at the moment, apart from the coffee trees that are bearing profusively flowers, we've got those yesterday, today, and tomorrow that are they're going bos. Hulle gaan nou bos, meisie.
Isn't it amazing? And I love the fact with them, one, they're so fragrant. They seem to survive anything. But I feel that each flower tells the story of yesterday and then today and then tomorrow. So I feel the plant is talking to me when I look at it. And I love that. I think, you're a multitasker of note, and they can go sun or shade. So they just tick all those boxes.
And that's exactly why we call them the yesterday, today, and tomorrow. For dear listeners who don't know, a frangipani, pardon me, the yesterday, today, and tomorrow, it'll start off like a darkish, purplish kind of a color. And then the second day, it'll fade a little bit. And by the third day, it will be almost white. And then you expect it to fall away. And that's why it's called a yesterday, today, and tomorrow. And speaking of yesterday, today, and tomorrow, Carrie, before we go on, Sunday and tomorrow, today and tomorrow, you've got 29 today, that's hot, and then 25. So you're going to have a little bit of a cooler day tomorrow, slightly overcast. Then you got a week of rain to cool things off because you were complaining about.
So grateful.
One of our listeners says group name is Gaia Guardians. Oh, wow. Gaia Guardians. Okay.
Very nice one.
Yes. And Albert says, I have a small backyard nursery. The smells are wonderful. How awesome. So this week, if you're in Cape Town, Albert and Sandy, who have joined us on the social medias, you can look forward to, in Johannesburg, cloudy day on Monday, and then you've got rain, heavy rain on Tuesday, followed by spit spots of rains from Wednesday to Saturday. But Wednesday being your lowest temperature of 19, and then although you've got rain till Sunday, you've got your temperatures rising. For the listeners that are in Cape Town, you're going to keep having that beautiful warm weather that you've been having. I believe I was talking to my friend Nina, and she was saying that she has the most beautiful weather going on in Cape Town as well. And also some very special people down in Cape Town at the moment who are having an absolute blast of a time in this beautiful weather. And they're going to be having an increasing temperature. So today is overcast and they've got a 17-degree. But as the days go on, they're just going to get hotter and hotter until they get to 21 on Sunday, which I'm sure they'll be quite grateful for. Whereas in Durban, we have kind of if you'll notice, there's a pattern in our weather lately where from Sunday to Wednesday, the temperature is going up. And then there's a bit of a dip and then it goes up again towards the weekend. So that's what we're having. We're having a little bit of rain later on today, folks. Yes, we are. It's 10% let me get this right. Precipitation. I'm going to sound like that cinnamon guy. Precipitation. And just 10%, which means we'll probably get a little bit of rain for the evening. But then rain again on Thursday, and then Saturday and Sunday we're going to have a little bit of a spit spot of rain. So that is our weather report. But you in Johannesburg are having the heat and is going to keep getting hot, but you've got lots of rain coming this weekend.
Which is great. I think it's an excellent time to get into the garden and start planting different things because the rain is going to be coming. So we won't have to be worried too much about watering. And my favorite is rain. Oh dear. Oh, sorry. Rain.
Okay. Brother Simonese is bringing us some beautiful news, and he's let us know that it is time for our ad break. So, we need to.
Yeah.
Let's go for a quick ad break, and we'll be back right after this with Dr. Carrie Goodwin for our gardening forecast.
Welcome to Simplex Radio. Visit our showroom for the full range of car audio. Our TV department carries top brands with quality LED panels, full HD to Ultra HD, and now the experience of Super Ultra HD. Visit our theater rooms and transform your home with brands like Onkyo, Integra, Denon, Boston Acoustics, Yamaha, and more for quality audio visual experience. Now available, full range of home appliances. A one-stop shopping experience. Call 031 306 4029 or Kenilworth Park, 202 Brickfield Road, Overport. Simplex Radio, the name you can trust.
Every day, thousands go to bed hungry, but you can change that. With just 10 Rand, you can provide a loaf of bread. This bread is more than just a donation, it is a lifeline for so many families in need. Be part of the Al Ansar Outreach Slice of Life drive today. Call Outreach on 031 208 1601 and make a difference one loaf at a time.
Ladies, get ready to bedazzle. Join us October 30th, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. for a high tea live broadcast at the Al Ansar Conference Center. Celebrating 5 years of Urban Women with me, Raia Calvalho. 100 Rand gets you fun, goodie bags, giveaways, cook-offs, chance to win a TV. And what's a celebration without cake? Grab your tickets at the Al Ansar shop now.
When disaster strikes, families lose everything in an instant. Homes destroyed, communities displaced. Hope fades into uncertainty. Our Global Emergency Fund ensures we respond without delay, delivering food, water, shelter, and healthcare to families in need. To support our Global Emergency Fund, visit islamicrelief.org.za.
Damusad. Join Raia Calvalho, Zahir Basa, Salma Kazi, and Siraj Basa on Saturday, November 1st, as we broadcast live from Checkers Saxony Westwood Mall from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Durban's largest Checkers store with a halal certified butchery, bakery, and deli. Bring your friends, family, and neighbors too. There's loads of fun and savings to be had by all. Mark your calendar. Checkers Saxony Westwood Mall, November 1st. See you there.
It's the massive clearance sale at Balwest Furniture, Pietermaritzburg. Sale starts 23rd October. Doors open at 7:30 a.m. Get the luxurious Signorini pillow top king bed for only 2,999. Only 20 available. The first 100 customers can upgrade their room with a double to queen upholstered headboard and 2 matching pedestals. Just $499. While stocks last, T's and C's apply. Balwest Furniture, Pietermaritzburg, 439 Victoria Road. Balwest, where shopping is fun and you are number one.
The Al Ansar Foundation, Dawah, Tarbiyah and Education, establishing the foundations of Islamic civilization in South Africa.
You're back with Green Thumbs Up, and I am Raia Calvalho, and with me this morning is Dr. Carrie Goodwin, and we were talking about names for our community here, and we've had a few names come in, and from one of our social media followers, she says, we are protectors of the earth, defenders of peace, nature, and harmony. I love that. And then she came up with the name, which is Gaia Guardians. Now, we can use guardians, but we cannot use Gaia. I'll tell you why. Because Gaia, although it is a original word in Greek, it comes from Greek mythology, it is also the name of a goddess. So we don't roll that way. But guardians we like. So
Love
what
guardian.
are my guardians? Are we our green guardians? Is that what we are? Come on, folks. Come on, put your heads together, my dear listeners. Carrie, tell us then. Yeah.
So I was going to say we could also be the garden guardians, because even if we don't think of it, might not have our own gardens to look after. You know, if you look at your local parks and you enjoy your space around you, that could become your garden. It could be the one plant that you have on your windowsill could be a garden. It's something green and living, and hopefully it's living. And, you know, we're looking after. So I love the word guardians. That's a really lovely one.
I love the word guardians. Yes, I'm leaning away from the garden because we
Yes,
just
that's quite
gardening.
specific thing.
Yes, but we've got another message that is coming from brother MH Osman, and he says, "You're bringing back memories of my childhood with the today, tomorrow tree talk." And then a question for you. A question for you. I'm going to leave this to you. How do I revive this poor plant? This is from Shamshad. I am killing it. Please. I actually cut all the flowers and only have the stems left. And if I look at this plant that she's showing me, this looks like a chrysanthemum. Now, chrysanthemums definitely, they're a little bit finicky once they have flowered. But what would you do?
So actually, we normally, and it comes back to what you were talking about in the beginning, how you appreciate people, and you I was thinking, when you give people a bunch of flowers, or you cut off, even if it's a single flower from your garden, that is just another way of saying, I love you. Thank you for everything that you do for me. It's like a smile. But coming back to the
100%.
chrysanthemums, one of the plants that gets given the most as a gift is a chrysanthemum. And then I always say to people, put it in your home, enjoy it in your sunny kitchen or your dining room while it's still flowering. Then once it's finished flowering, cut it back probably to 15, 20 centimeters. Go and plant it in the garden. Give it a nice, it could be a semi-shade or full sun place. Put it there, and then you will actually see it will kind of like, I want to say, fluff out its roots. It will settle into the garden. So it takes a while, probably about 2 months at least. And then the
Right.
next thing, it will revive itself. It just, because I can see it happening in the nursery. I actually looked yesterday, and some of the chrysanthemums that we didn't manage to sell, we planted into our own gardens. And all of a sudden, they've got their green foliage and their little flower buds are starting to open. And I'm like, oh, you're getting a second wind. This is wonderful. So I
It
think,
is
don't.
wonderful. So,
Yeah.
yeah, sorry to just summarize for Sister Shamshad, you've cut back the flowers, you've only got the stems left. I see in the photograph that she sent us that it is still in its pot. So perhaps the secret is to go and put it in the earth. And if you don't have a garden, then perhaps put it in a bigger pot. What do you say, Carrie?
Yeah, that would be really good as well. Otherwise, you could just feed it. So if you gave it a little bit like a tablespoon of some fertilizer, or I'm sure you would have a natural thing that we could give it as food if you had to keep it in the pot, because it might be that the food within the soil confined in the pot is actually disappeared. And especially now, if you've cut off all the flowers, I don't know if there's any leaves left. It's probably battling to make its own food. So yeah, either put it in a big pot or just give it a bit of food to kind of wake it up and make it revitalize itself.
Absolutely. Now, the question that keeps coming up from people when I speak to them and they're garden, I listen to your gardening show. I've listened to the, and how often must I water a plant? And I say, well, it's kind of how long is a piece of string, because where is situated, if it's in full sun, it's going to need more sun. And the similar question came through from Shamshad, and there's how often must I water it? So if it's in a pot and the day is very hot, then the water is going to evaporate very quickly. If it's in the ground and you have mulched, then you're going to need to water less frequently. So a good rule of thumb is every day go out to your little plant and take your finger and put your finger into the soil. And if you push your finger into the soil, get it right in there till like your first phalange. And if you feel that it's moist, the soil is moist on the top, but it's dry at the bottom. You don't want moist on the top. You want moist all the way down. So you need to give it a good solid watering. And the other thing with trees, people sometimes say, oh, my trees don't need watering. Trees need water.
Yes.
And you have done so much work in terms of water. So give us some tips for keeping our plants hydrated, please, in these upcoming weeks that is the heat is coming in.
So actually what you were saying, we used to call it the finger test, and when you put it in the soil, and we would say if your finger comes out clean once you've wiggled it in, then you know that your plants are thirsty and you need to give them water. If your finger comes out and there's still a little bit of soil sticking to it and maybe a bit of bark, then you know that your plants are actually sort of okay and they could last another day. But I love the fact that you actually have to go and feel the soil. Put your hands inside there, whether it's your finger or your hand, and I know some people are touch averse. They don't want to. They don't like the texture of the soil. And then I've said, oh, you could go and use a chopstick or a stick to see. But there's nothing better than putting your hands in the soil. It releases those positive endorphins and makes you feel good. But
The whole point, sorry, Carrie, the point of the soil is that it is full of good bacteria for us.
Yes.
Now, if you put your finger in there and you can't get your finger in, then your pot is probably root bound. Because you probably get so many roots in that pot that this poor plant is saying, move me, mama, I can't anymore.
Yeah.
So it wants to move to a bigger pot. There's that. Or if you put your finger in there and the sand is soil is very loose and sandy and dry, you've probably got a dead plant when you do that.
Yes, well, then it definitely needs a little bit of compost to just give it that extra bit of nourishment and friability in the soil. But I think the other thing that we have to look at when you were talking about how do we make it, especially in pots, because I think a lot of us are starting to garden in pots and we don't have the chance to water all the time, is go into your local garden center and find some like coir fibers. You buy it in a block and you put your little block, comes normally about 600 grams or a kilogram, and you put that in 10 liters of water. And then I go and actually use, because if my pot is already planted, then I go and use my broomstick and I turn it upside down and I put holes in my pot, and then I kind of water some of the coir fiber down into the pot, because the coir fiber is like a straw and it holds onto the water until the plant actually needs it. So it just makes your pots more water wise. But there's also a few other, there's water wise granules that you can get. There's a lot of additives that there's a new one, I'm trying to think of its name. I think it's called Integrate, and it's almost like a gel, but it's a liquid, and you mix it with some water. It's an organic product, and then you pour it over your pots, and again it's going to hold onto the water while you're watering, and then as your plant needs it, it's going to give the plants the water. But I think sorry. Yeah?
No, please go on.
I was going to say, it also goes back to basics, like you were saying with the sandy soil or maybe clay soil or too many roots, is you have to look at your soil. Like I had some ficus that were planted in a pot, and I always think when I go on holiday and I go to the Kruger National Park and I see all those ficus along the rocks and I can see all their roots exposed, I think that can't be the same plant that I've got in a tiny little 20 centimeter pot on my balcony. And then exactly. When I decided to transplant it last week, I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, oh my goodness, where did all these roots come from? And the plant is saying to me, just give me a little bit of like bark and compost so that I can have space, because there are too many roots here. And I like chopped some of the roots off, and I think my plants have gone into a little bit of shock. So also don't forget, when you do transplant, make sure you do it on a cooler day or in the evenings, so that when your plants go into shock, there's a little bit of forgiveness for them, and then just give them a little bit more water than you would frequently so that they recover quickly. Because it is almost like us getting into a freezing cold swimming pool. It's going to be like, oh my goodness, what's going on here?
Yeah, that's a lot to take in. So I just want to break something down for the listeners from what Carrie has said. I'm so grateful, because everything you've said is exactly what our darlings at home, our guardians, our green guardians need to know. And that is if you're going to move a plant or put a plant in, a lot of people will go to the nursery in the morning, the plant nursery. Then they come home and it's 12 o'clock by the time they start moving things around. And now the roots are hot. They've been sitting in the sun, and they go and put these plants in, and then they dunk cold water onto it. And it's not great for the plants. Or they first cut it back, give it a good haircut, and then put it in the ground. And now the plant's going, ooh, ouch on the top and ooh, ouch at the bottom and the feet. And it's like major shock. Okay. So one thing we do want to do is to make sure, it's like when you bring fish home and you want to introduce fish into a pond, more fish into an existing pond. You're not going to bring the fish from the pet store or from wherever you bought them and throw them directly into the pond. You're going to take that little baggie and you're going to put that baggie into the pond, and then you're going to allow that water to become the same temperature as the pond, and slowly you'll open that bag so the little fishies can swim out. The same thing with our plants. We seem to think that plants, if you were to think of a plant as you would an animal, and you love animals, then you're going to find it so much easier to be a gardener. So I've got a couple of questions here. So Sister Shamshad is about her chrysanthemum. She says she has it in a big pot, and is bone meal good for plants? Absolutely, it is good for. Absolutely. And then another question here. Salams, hope you're well. Sister Rabia, please help me with my lemon tree. It's not looking good. I have it in a big container in my balcony. And here we're going to the same thing. You've got it in a container. How long has it been in the container? How often have you fed it? Have you mulched it? Have you pruned it? Have you checked it for pests? So the first thing you'll do, here you've got your lemon tree. Here you've got your lemon tree, and you are looking at the lemon tree, and you're going to say, right, first of all, let me look at the state of its leaves. What does it look like? Because you will know the roots by the fruits, you will know the health by the leaves. Are there bugs and critters and ants? And if there's ants on it, then there's probably aphids somewhere crawling up there. So check that. Get rid of the pests. Now, put your fork in the soil around the plant, not immediately under the plant, but on the outside of the tree's canopy, and see, is it very dry? Is it very hard? These things we've been talking about. If you need to, fruit trees that grow in pots, you can have fruit trees in 50-liter pots, 100-liter pots, and always live in pots, indefinite. But you do have to, once a month, or at very least once every 3 months, you have to go to the outskirts of that pot, around the perimeter of that pot, and you got to dig deep and remove that loose soil and add fresh soil in there. You're not doing this once a month. You're going to do this every 3 months. You're going to feed it every month. In the winter months, you're not going to need so much feeding. But Carrie, anything I've missed for this brother or sister's lemon tree?
No, I think you've done it perfectly well. The one thing to do with fruit trees is to be consistent also in their watering. So I think sometimes with pots, we think, oh, it's rained, but we don't actually realize how much rain or how deep it rained. Like I know last week, Sunday, we had a splattering of rain in the nursery. And then we had a debate to say, do we have to go and water our plants? And, the one guy said, oh, no, we've had 5 mils. We don't have to water. And then when I phoned around and checked, actually, if we don't have 10 mils of rain, we go and water our plants. And our plants are in small pots or bags. So if you think, oh, we've had some rain and I don't have to water, it's actually probably, if you haven't had 10 mils of rain at least, then, go back to your normal watering regime. And especially for fruit trees, if you want juicy fruits, they need consistent watering. So if you're going to give it 10 liters of water on a Monday, you need to give it 10 liters of water every Monday. Otherwise, it's going to produce fruit and they're going to be hard or tasteless or not so juicy. And it's the same when your flowers, you go bud drop if they don't water consistently, not constantly, just consistently.
So this brings the poet out in me that says, if you don't know if your plant is dry, here is the test to do. Put your finger in and out, and then you'll know what to do.
I like it.
You take your finger out and put your finger in, and you shake it all about, and you find out if the soil is loose or dry, and you give it some water. That's how you don't let it die.
Wow, you are a poet. A lady of words.
And I did not even know it. Oh, my goodness. So check your plants. Our green thumbs, green fingers are there to get into the earth. There is something that people miss out, and it touches on what you said earlier on, Carrie. People miss out on how important the soil is. We think there's the planet, there's the earth, there's the plants, and then there's us. And then there's us separately. We are a part of that ecosystem.
Yeah.
That same earth that we are growing things in is the earth that one day will take the nutrients from our bodies and grow something else, let's face it.
Yes.
So a follow-up question here regarding the lemon tree. The leaves are getting brown on the tips. So for me, that's either going to be sun or water. What, Carrie?
Yeah, I'm also thinking it's going to be probably water. Especially if the tips, if they're brown and crispy, then it's a little bit thirsty. If they're brown and soft, there's obviously maybe no drainage in your pot. And so then it's going to be overwatering. The roots are sitting in water and they're drowning. So to me, yeah, if they definitely brown on the tips, just feel if they're crispy or soft, and then that will tell you whether you need to give more water or less water, and go and look that the hole or the hole in your pot is actually open still.
And maybe that's a good starting point, is just tip your plant over gently and have a look if you put water in, if the water drains out or it just sits in the plant. Because plants like us, I mean, if we walked around with our feet in shoes filled with water all day long, foot rot, not good. No Barassi would fix that.
Gross.
So our trees are the same. Our plants are the same. So now, you know what I didn't tell you about was my tipple of the morning this morning. Every Sunday we have a tipple of the morning. And today what I'm drinking, I don't know what you're drinking. What are you drinking this morning, Carrie?
I'm a coffee girl.
Nothing wrong with coffee.
Every morning it's coffee.
Oh, I gotta have
I'm
that
trying
coffee.
to add a little bit of nutmeg to it now, just to pretend that it's going to be healthier. I don't think it counts though.
I'll tell you what does count. If you are having coffee every morning, do yourself a favor and buy yourself some Shilajit. Good quality Shilajit that is rich and black and thick and dark and rich, not this brown stuff, this dry stuff, none of that. And you just put a little bit, you'll see it. It's like, I don't know, about 4 millimeters width of a teaspoon, in there. It's just a tiny little bit, a pinch of the Shilajit into your coffee. Not only does it deepen the flavor, so now you feel like you're drinking some coffee off some Isle of Greece somewhere, or Italy somewhere. You got the summer beautiful coffee.
Amazing.
Oh my hat, let me tell you, with 84 different minerals and tissue salts and fulvic acid and humic acid. You know what Shilajit does for me? It is non-psychoactive, but let me tell you what it does for me. When I drink Shilajit in my coffee, I feel like I've walked into a forest, because literally it is all of these plants that have decomposed over centuries that are being taken out of the earth as Shilajit. So a suggestion from Shiraz Khan, Brother Shiraz, Salam Alaikum. He says, Salams Rabi. Here's a few names. The Blooming Bunch. I love it. How's that? The Blooming Bunch, or the Green Garden Family. I love that. So my tipple of the morning that I have here with Carrie's having her coffee, minus the Shilajit at the moment until she gets some. I have simply taken some warm water, because warm water is better for our body than ice water. And then I have put into it lots and lots of slices of strawberry, and some very, very thin slices of lemon. Given it a good shake and let it cool down completely. And here I have my strawberry lemon water. That is our tipple of the day. So this is going to be a refresher. If I had any at home, I don't at the moment, I would have put some mint in there. So, Carrie, there's an idea for you.
That looks delicious. Sure. I think I might have to change from my coffee. It might be better than the caffeine and sugar that I'm having. Well, now we've told me about the sugar.
You told me, you did not tell me about the sugar. Oh, goodness. No. Once you go sugar-free, you do not go back.
I like it. I'm going to challenge for November.
Yes. I decided one day, to do an entire detoxification and kind of cleanse my blood from any potential candida that gets into your bloodstream, right? And I decided for a week, I'm going to drink coffee without sugar. And then after a week, I tried to put some sugar back in. I was like, blah, blah, no. You really get the flavor of it, the depth of it, and then you begin to appreciate the different coffees. You get to appreciate all of the different flavors of the Kenyan coffees, the Greek coffees, the Portuguese coffees, the Italian coffees, and then, of course, they have this beautiful stuff that's not quite coffee. That's another thing you can switch over to. It's called cevada in Portuguese. I think in Italian it's called osso something. I forget the name. The Italians will know. And it is literally a roasted barley drink, or of course you could drink dandelion root coffee. But can you believe our time is up?
Oh my goodness.
That is your every time your monthly forecast in gardening, darlings. And to all my green guardians, our blooming bunch, we are up for the news now. It's 10 o'clock. So from me, the entire team here at Radio Al-Ansar, thank you so much, Dr. Carrie Goodwin, for being with us. Eric is ready for the news with us. Until next week, we say it's a beautiful day to be happy. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.